Modern men have been weakened. They grew up surrounded by screens, cheap comfort, and empty distractions. They lost discipline, forgot honor, and abandoned purpose. The result? A fragile generation with no direction, ready to be used as pawns. But there was a time when men lived by unbreakable codes. The Templars weren't perfect, but they were warriors forged in iron, discipline, and faith. Today, I will reveal the 7 Templar codes every man must rediscover if he wants to abandon weakness, reclaim dignity, and forge an eternal legacy. You've been taught to believe that being a man is about having a nice body, some money in your pocket, and a comfortable life. Lies. Men today are drowning in addictions, cheap dopamine, and instant pleasures. They've become domesticated, cowardly, men without codes, without their word, without loyalty. A Templar would never live like that. He knew discipline was worth more than pleasure, honor worth more than life, and loyalty worth more than gold. The contrast is brutal. On one side, a weak generation selling itself for likes. On the other, warriors who knew how to die in silence for the right cause. Now you must decide. Will you keep living as a slave to distractions, or will you rediscover the codes that forge unbreakable men? Code 1. Unbreakable discipline. A Templar didn't wake up and decide whether to train, fight, or pray depending on his mood. He followed inner laws stronger than iron. Discipline was what separated ordinary men from warriors. Today, most wake up tired, hit the snooze button, check their phones, and start the day already defeated. If you don't control your routine, someone else will control you. Discipline is not comfort. It is chosen pain. It is training when your body begs for rest. It is working when your mind craves distraction. It is staying silent when anger demands you shout. Without discipline, you'll be just another fragile man, enslaved by his own impulses. Code 2. Faith as strength. The Templars had something modern men lost: unshakable faith. Not shallow religion, but a moral and spiritual root that gave courage in fear and endurance in trials. Faith is believing in a purpose greater than yourself. Today's men believe only in money, pleasure, and fame, and that's why they collapse at the first sign of hardship. Templar faith carried the sword and fortified the mind. It didn't make a man blind, it made him unstoppable. Without faith, you are easily broken. With faith, you rise even when bleeding, even when alone, even against the impossible. These first 2 codes are intertwined. Discipline shapes the body and mind, while faith sustains the soul. The man who embraces both stops being a prisoner of circumstances and becomes master of himself. Code 3. Honor above life. For a Templar, losing life was less shameful than losing honor. They understood that a reputation built on firm actions was worth more than a miserable survival. Today, many sell their principles for digital applause, a salary raise, or fleeting pleasures. Honor is not negotiable. It is the invisible fortress that protects a man from moral decay. A man without honor may have wealth, status, and followers, but he is nothing more than a walking corpse, never truly respected. If you want to reclaim the Templar spirit, wield your word as a sword. When you promise, keep it. When you take a stand, hold your ground. When tempted to sell out, choose to lose everything, except your honor. Code 4. Loyalty to the brother. The Templars fought side by side, knowing one man guarded the other's back. Betraying a brother's trust was worse than death. Today, loyalty has become a rare currency. Friendships are disposable, alliances are shallow, and even families dissolve under the weight of selfishness. The Templar understood that no man wins alone. You need brothers you can trust, men walking in the same direction whom you would never betray. Loyalty isn't just about standing together in victory. It's staying when everything falls apart. It's refusing to stab a brother in the back, defending his honor even when he's not there. A man without loyalty can never be trusted, and a man who cannot be trusted will never be remembered as a true man. Honor and loyalty form the foundation of Templar brotherhood. They are the codes that restore the value of one's word, the strength of alliances, and the courage not to bend under temptation. A man who embraces these codes becomes a rock in the desert of weakness that the modern world has become. Code 5. Self-mastery. A Templar warrior knew the first battle was always against himself. The external enemy could be defeated with sword and strategy, but the internal enemy required mastery. A man who does not control his impulses is already defeated before the fight begins. Today, we see men enslaved by addictions: food, pornography, alcohol, drugs, endless distractions. They bow to instant pleasures and sacrifice their strength, their energy, and their masculinity. The Templar chose the opposite. He fasted when he could have eaten, trained when he could have rested, stayed silent when he could have exploded. Self-mastery means having power over your actions, not being a slave to body or mind. A man who rules himself becomes unstoppable because no one else can rule him. Code 6. Courage in the face of death. The Templars lived with death as a constant companion. Every battle could have been their last, but that did not paralyze them. It made them bolder. The fear of death is what keeps modern men chained. They are afraid to risk, afraid to lose, afraid of rejection, afraid to leave comfort, and so they remain small, fragile, invisible. Templar courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. It was staring at danger and moving forward. It was understanding that life is too short to be wasted in cowardice. The man who faces death head-on begins to live with intensity, strength, and clarity. He knows the end is inevitable, but how he lives until that end, that is his choice. Self-mastery and courage together form the essence of inner strength. A man who masters his desires and faces death without trembling is a man who cannot be manipulated. He is neither a slave to pleasure nor a prisoner of fear. He is truly free. Code 7. Eternal legacy. A Templar did not live only for himself. Every act, every battle, every decision carried the weight of a legacy. They knew life is brief, but the mark you leave on the world can outlive centuries. Today, many men live only for the moment. They want pleasure now, quick success, instant recognition. They build nothing that can endure. The true man does not think only of today, but of the echo of his name once he is gone. Legacy is not fleeting fame or wealth stored in bank accounts. Legacy is the sum of your discipline, faith, honor, loyalty, self-mastery, and courage. It is the impact your life has on those who come after you, your children, brothers, disciples, society. Ask yourself, if you die today, what will remain? Nothing but debts, weak memories, and worthless digital traces? Or will you leave behind an example that will inspire generations? The 7 codes are not isolated fragments, but the pillars of a fortress. Discipline shapes your routine. Faith sustains your mind. Honor guards your dignity. Loyalty builds your bonds. Self-mastery conquers the inner enemy. Courage breaks the chains of fear. And legacy is the result of all the others, etched into time. Together, they form the backbone of the Templar man, and they are exactly what today's men are missing. The modern world doesn't need more distracted, complacent, and cowardly men. It needs men who live by codes, men who refuse to bow to mediocrity, men who accept the responsibility of carrying a life of purpose, strength, and impact. What the Templars built was more than a military order. It was a symbol, and symbols do not die. They simply wait to be rediscovered by those bold enough to rise. You don't need to wear armor or wield a sword to live like a Templar. You need to apply the codes in real life, here and now. Wake up early and impose discipline on your body. Structure your day and defeat laziness. Cultivate solid faith, not in empty words, but in a purpose that gives meaning to your battles. Honor your word. If you promised, keep it. If you failed, own it. Choose your brothers and be loyal to them no matter the cost. Cut off addictions, master your impulses, and rule your desires. Face your fears. Speak when your voice shakes. Move forward when your mind demands retreat. And above all, think of legacy. Build something that endures, something that proves you existed and lived as a true man. You don't need to change the entire world at once, but you must change yourself. One code applied is already transformation. 7 codes applied make you an unbreakable warrior in a world of cowards. The world already has too many men living like shadows, fragile, distracted, forgettable. History does not remember those who hid. It remembers those who lived by codes. You can keep living as another modern slave, selling your days for scraps and trading your strength for comfort, or you can choose to rise as a Templar of the 21st century. No one will do it for you. The decision is yours. Rediscovering the 7 codes is more than a lifestyle choice. It is an act of war against mediocrity. And every war demands courage. The question is simple. Will you die forgotten, or will you live in a way that leaves an eternal legacy? Honor the codes, or die in silence.